Good afternoon and welcome back to Eurosatory News. My name is Andrew White and I'm joined by Czechia's Vice President for the Association of Defence and Security Industry, Mr. Jaroslav PECHACEK.
Good afternoon.
Jaroslav, welcome.
Thank you for the invite.
Czechia has been one of the most active supporters of Ukraine in the ongoing conflict. How do you see your country's role evolving in terms of defence assistance and longer-term security guarantees?
That's true. We keep supporting Ukraine. We work as a hub, as a how to say, facilitating deliveries to Ukraine. So that's something that will continue. We're obviously very much involved, and we hope allies and us can do a good job there.
Thank you. The war in Ukraine has obviously pushed many NATO and EU members to increase defence spending, accelerate procurement processes, and Czechia is at the front and centre of that. What would you say are the top modernisation priorities for Czechia in the next 5 to 10 years, perhaps?
You mean the acquisition process, or
Yeah, so acquisition processes, but also increasing the defence spending.
Okay. Yeah, the main goal is obviously to become a strategic partners to European allies, not only European as well, overseas allies, and then develop something strong in Europe for the security in the future. So yes, the role will be key in the future for us, and maybe even more Central Europe or East Europe countries to be a bridge for the cooperation between Western allies and us. Yes.
And obviously with the Czechia pavilion at Eurosatory, would you say most of the companies here presenting are from land warfare, air defense, counter-UAS? Is there a particular trend you see?
I can answer to that. As you probably all know, the Czech industry has a long history, and I keep saying it's from head to toe, from air to ground. So what you could see in Czech pavilion is literally from the very heavy military tanks and vehicles all the way to a protective gear, as well as drones, anti-drone system, disruptive technologies, and that's something that's I would say developing throughout the last 5 or even 10 years. That the Czech industry, specifically in the defense, is moving from the traditional heavy military industry to disruptive technologies and electronic warfare, cyber, etc. So yes, we see a good trend in this one.
Absolutely, interesting. Central Europe is becoming a critical hub for defence industry and maintenance, not only in Central Eastern Europe, but looking at Ukraine as well. How do you see the Czech defence industrial base being further development, through potentially partnerships that you might identify at Eurosatory?
That's not only Eurosatory. Obviously, Eurosatory is a venue where you can meet nearly everyone in this industry, and that's very much appreciated from Czech companies. It's even not far from Prague, so we appreciate that. And yes, the main goal for the companies is to become a supplier, so obviously to primes, to tier 1 suppliers to primes, etc. And like I said, the focus is on high value added technologies. That's the main goal. I think we moved since last few years from the traditional to very high tech and technological, and need to say that we are completely export oriented country. Obviously our production cannot stay at home, so yes, more than 90-95% is going out. So this is really to look for partnership through EDF, through strategic joint ventures, whatever. That's exactly what is going on here in Paris.
Well, 90-95% of the domestic industry is exports.
Yes.
That's huge.
That's huge. Yeah. That's of course nowadays it's a lot to Ukraine. That's for sure. But even before the conflict in Europe, the focus was to maintain the capacities. When you want to maintain the capacities for the defense industry, you need to focus on export. We're such a small country, so if it's EU, if it's overseas, then yes, the Czech companies really need to focus on export. And even our tradition was, or has always been, in export products. Yeah. Fascinating.
Interoperability, interchangeability, we hear these buzzwords every day. Very important within NATO. Are there any particular capability areas that you could highlight that are particularly relevant to the Czech industrial base?
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to mention that the traditional vehicles and ammunition, that's something very well known, but what's not known is that thanks, it sounds weird, but yes, thanks to the conflict we have in Europe, the Czech companies switched their focus on the technologies around electronic warfare, including drones, anti-drones. Simply, that's what's going on in this conflict. That's nothing secret. So this is where Czech companies, based on what the experience they have, trying to focus on, and that's something they can offer further for the export or for the strategic partnership to French, German, British companies. Yes, that's
absolutely. Defense budgets are rising. Taxpayers demand transparency, value for money. Can you comment on any steps the Czechia government is taking to support these major defense procurements, make them more efficient and free from any delay?
Yeah, that's with the acquisition processes. We all know it's a hell of a bureaucracy, specifically in Europe. What we do in our association, we try to guide or navigate companies through the process. We have a specific team focusing on navigating them through EDF and a similar initiative on the European or NATO basis. So that's what we do as an association. Then we do industrial days to connect Czech companies with outside world, with potential or even strategic partners. Maybe they can help them to navigate through the acquisition processes that are on. What Czech government is particularly doing is very much supporting the industry. If it's Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Industry and Trade. So yes, people are working on that to make it happen. We're on a good track.
Absolutely, thank you. Just finally, you said you're responsible for all of the Czech industry attending Eurosatory. I can only imagine the logistics involved. Can you give us a sense of how big a deal that is to bring all these companies over, showcase their technologies? How hard is that?
You mean bring them to Eurosatory here?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. No, most of them are well-experienced companies. They go to Saudi, to Emirates, to London, to all these shows. So yes, it's a big logistics challenge, but they can manage, and obviously there are good companies that can help them to do it and to make it to a good show. So I would say go and see it in Pavilion 5. There you could see that it's worth it. Yeah.
Fabulous. So yeah, Hall 5, everyone, the Czechia Pavilion. Mr. PECHACEK, thank you so very much for joining us. Have a good show.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.